Bravo, keep it up.
Whoa! Wait! Oh no! Big mistake! I had to go back last and down to 10. No, he's not an conference. It has been an absolutely astonishing season.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Autodromo Internazionale Monza, or Nazionale Monza rather, I've just noticed it is, so I've been saying it wrong all this time. But anyway, for another round of the Formula Sim Racing ACE Championship. I might be joined later on by a secondary commentator who will be a name you'll recognise from the long and distant past of Formula Sim Racing, but he's having a couple of internet issues at the second, I think. And he says apologies shouldn't have happened, but anyway, he'll be in a minute possibly. But for now, we're going to go into the qualifying session. We're actually already in it, and we've got a couple of laps set already. Currently, top of that is Victor Ivanov. I should also say quickly before we start that the cameraman today is Cameron Rodger, so he will be providing the visual side of the broadcast you are seeing. And currently, in terms of the order, it's Victor Ivanov at the top of the times, followed by Robin Panzer, Davide Schiappini, Giordano Valeriano, Adriano Opporcini, Wojciech Lukaszek, Dylan Scrivens, Mark Behrens, Felipe Giro, and Kevin Moorville, the 10 drivers who have set laps so far. And following them, the rest of the 19 cars who haven't set laps yet. Interestingly, in terms of penalties, we don't have as many as we've sometimes seen in this series, but we still have a couple. I'll read them out now. We have Phil Kreis with a back of the grid penalty, as well as Ton van Egmond, Lucas Schmidt, and Luke Maguire. And then we have a 5-place grid penalty as well for Wojciech Lukaszek. So there are a couple of drivers who won't be getting as much out of this qualifying session as they could do, and those will be for incidents in previous races, possibly previous qualifying sessions. I expect most of them will be for track limits in the last qualifying session back at Spa. Actually 4 weeks ago now, so we've had a real break there of 4 weeks. So the drivers will be refreshed. They've had a lot of time to practice, and now, after those 4 weeks, we are back on track here at the iconic Monza circuit in Italy for another round of Formula Sim Racing ACE. Earlier, of course, we saw a pro race. The pole position time in that was a 1:17.9, so we're expecting a quicker lap than that today. And in fact, in practice just now, we did see a quicker lap than that. I believe it was set by Robin Panzer, who's currently second in the session. So obviously Panzer has the pace, but can anyone else match him as well? That's the question, and I'm sure we will be just about to find out. As I click on all of the wrong buttons, so I lose sight of everything. Anyway, currently on a lap, we're seeing Ivanov and Panzer actually, so going at it, both on track at the same time. This is the second stint that they've both done, I believe. Of course, in qualifying, we often see about three or four. You have 12 laps at maximum to set your lap, and you're not allowed to teleport back to the pits from the track. You have to drive back into the pits like a car would in reality. And those 12 laps count the out laps and in laps as well. What's the lap from Robin Panzer? Is he just going on to one? I believe he is actually, because that was no improvement. Indeed, he is just going onto a lap. Although Viktor Ivanov, I believe, is about to finish one. And that was quick. That was a 1:18.035, the quickest lap we've seen in this session so far. So Viktor Ivanov puts his car at the top of the order with a good time there. Still not as quick as the pro pole position lap time earlier today, but pretty good indeed. Still room for improvement though. And remember, Robin Panzer did go quicker than that earlier on. Incidentally, the pro pole position time earlier on did go to Ivan Leon. What am I saying? Yeah, Ivan Leonov. So Ivan Leonov qualified on pole in the pro race earlier on, and then went on to, I think, win the race as well. He was certainly leading it when I had to go and do something. Yeah, indeed, Leonov won the race earlier on from Allmendinger and De Vries. None of them in this race, of course, because this is the ACE Championship. Oh, good lap there from Robin Panzer, 1:17.947. Should have seen that coming, but unfortunately my live timing screen has frozen. But Panzer there goes to the top of the order with a 1:17.947 ahead of Ivanov. And then Marek Godek, who's put his car up into third position quite recently in this session. Although Panzer currently the only driver under a 1:18. And finally, we are being joined by the other commentator in the commentary booth today, who is a name that you will all recognise from the ancient history, it seems, of the Formula Sim Racing Championships. And that, of course, is Alex Skinner.
Hello, I am here, and for all the ACE drivers on the grid, you can be breathing a sigh of relief as I'm not on the grid this year like I was last year. But it's great to be back in the Formula Sim Racing commentary booth. Haven't been here since ACE Suzuka, actually, so hopefully glad to see some faces that I recognise from last year.
Yeah, certainly. Well, for you and for anyone as well who needs an update on the championship, it's currently David Schiappini, I believe, leading this champion. Oh, well, no, second in the championship, rather. Giordano Valeriano is at the top, so it's an Italian 1-2. And then following them, Lucas Schmidt from Switzerland, and then Danny van der Neert, Viktor Ivanov, David Mrocek, Tom Savali, Harris Parves, Tom van Egmond, and Luke Maguire make up the top 10 in the championship. However, one driver who really stood out last time out at Belgium, who actually hadn't competed in any of the prior races this championship, was Kian White, who was busy winning races in FSR Pro. So Kian White there joined in for the first time at Belgium and actually won the race quite well. So definitely an up and coming talent in Formula Sim Racing, and currently sixth in this order at the minute.
White's one of the guys that I've known for a fair while now, actually, and he's been very quick on pretty much whatever sim you put him in. He's very quick on Automobilistic, rFactor 2. And I know he's got that. When he practices, he can really put in those heavy hitting laps, and like a lot of the drivers you'll see here today. But with a lot of these guys as well, they're all out now for the championship. You know, we're past the halfway point of the calendar, focusing on the championship, not focusing. They're still going to go all out, of course, but they're all focusing on that championship. You'll see hopefully a lot less chaos going into turn one here. But this is Monza, as we saw in the pro race not that long ago. The drivers do still like to go for a couple of accidents going through there.
Of course, last time I was commentating here at the ACE Championship was at the Hockenheim Ring. And if you want a good example of a first lap that didn't go to plan, you only have to look back to the Hockenheim Ring broadcast, where I think it was something like 17 cars got affected by an incident going down into turn one. But anyway, hopefully we get that cleaner today. Incidents like that are rare, and of course, a good way of avoiding an incident like that is to put yourself high up the order in qualifying, which is what the drivers are attempting to do right about now. Currently, though, no driver under the 1:17.9. That of course was the pole time in FSR Pro. Although I'm seeing relatively quick first sector there from Matthias Coleman, and a relatively quick second sector from George Chattopantelis. Of course, neither of them we expect to challenge for pole position here. But these two are drivers who haven't actually set laps yet in the session, so it'll be interesting to see what they have up their sleeve. They tend to be quite decent, quite consistent drivers here. Not the quickest, but anyway, George Chattopantelis there puts his car to 13th in the order. As the 15 drivers who have currently set laps. As we see a quick lap coming in there from David Chiappini, putting himself 4th in the order. And now he's actually teleported back to the pits there, so he's not going out again in the session. Interestingly.
You've got to remember here, Josh obviously is, myself and Josh are used to commentating all over the place and everywhere
I'm thinking
else.
of the wrong series, aren't I?
Yes, you are. You can immediately finish your lap, pull off a circuit escape, and come straight back out again. This isn't GPVWC where you have to go back into the pits. This is different. So Josh, obviously,
Sorry.
as I say, we commentate on so many different series. You get a lot of rules mixed up, but as you're saying, comes in straight and will go straight set of ultras.
Yeah, that's quite embarrassing actually. I think I did something similar last time too. Oh, Kian White there, 3rd place in the order. That caught me off guard there because his sector times weren't actually registering anything special until he crossed the finish line. So obviously he just pulled something out of the bag in the final sector there. Talking of pulling something out of the bag, let's watch Giordano Valeriano here. He's had a quick first and second sectors. He's crossing the start-finish line now, and he goes 6th. So Valeriano there dips below half a second behind Panther and goes to 6th. Still not ideal for a championship leader. Sorry, Giordano Valeriano there, 1st in the championship, 6th in the order, and he's going to get one more attempt at a hot lap, I believe, if he so wishes to have another attempt.
Yeah, and with this, as much as you say, obviously avoiding all that turn 1 chaos, it's really important to be at the front. A lot of the time you can get away with it here, especially obviously as on lap 1, especially, mode 1, you are allowed to get away with going a bit to the right and going on that surrounded by the white line. Now, I'm just having a look at a couple of sectors from a couple of guys, just keeping a track of their laps, the guys who are on circuit at the moment. We've got Moraville coming out on his out lap at the moment, and he's going to be going on to a lap very Felipe Giro, actually, he's going to be someone to watch out for, the network driver. Coming around the final corner now. Comes down onto the start-finish straight. Uses up plenty of the track, actually, on the outside. So, on the DRS, let's see what he can do coming into the first corner.
And he puts himself 13th with that lap. Am I right in saying that this is Felipe Giro's first time?
Actually, apologies.
Yeah, I believe this is Felipe Giro's first time in Formula Sim Racing for quite a while, actually. He's returning after a break, from what I heard. So welcome back, Felipe Giro. Were you going to say something there?
Yeah, no, I was going to apologise for getting that wrong, as my game decided to show me that he wasn't actually on lap and he was on an out lap. But no, Felipe Giro is one of the guys you sort of want to keep an eye on, because throughout Pro he was very quick, very much up there indeed. And, he's someone that he can throw a couple of surprises out there. And Monza's the calendar from what I've seen of him throughout the years. So it's going to be great to see what he can do here.
Meanwhile, David Marocek puts himself to 9th position there, so a good lap. And, we were just talking about Felipe Giro. He's just been demoted back into 14th position there by Mark Behrens in 13th position. Not many drivers currently on track now, and I'm worried that some of them won't get to use up all of their laps, although if they get out in the next kind of minute or so, they'll be okay. Actually, it's quite a short track here, so they could do with about a minute and a half from now. But anyway, Dylan Scrivens there with an okay... Well, actually, an okay both sectors there, first and second. And as he crosses the line at the end of the 3rd sector, doesn't improve after all of that. So maybe, well, he does improve his lap.
He improved his lap, but he was very, very close to his own lap marginal gap, according to my own. But as you said, now a lot of drivers, as we can now actually see. Victor Ivanov now, the 2nd place driver, going on his lap, coming down traffic in front of him, but he's cleared that very easily into turn 1. It's one of those corners because if you get the braking wrong, you're either going to wash wide through the entry of turn 1 or very tight through the entry of turn 2. So it's one of those circuits those corners you really need to get right. Coming through Curva Grande, going into Della Rosia, so wide you don't want to be too tight on the entry of the corners, and getting the power down is absolutely vital, setting yourself up for the 2 Lesmos.
It's a real momentum track. If you lose momentum, then you're not going to do well at all, because this is a very fast circuit. There's a lot of straights, so it's all about getting a good exit to the corner rather than getting a good entry. You know, slow in, fast out. That tends to be how it is here. And if you lose time on the apex of a corner, you're not going to be going very fast by the exit. So definitely keep that in mind when you drive the Monza circuit. I'm just watching Victor Ivanov here. He's going to get one more shot at fighting Robin Panzer here as he goes onto this lap. Although actually, oh wow, his engine's caught fire. So ignore that.
Yeah. Oh, Chiappini currently as well. Got to switch to Davide Chiappini as he's coming across the line. Goes up to P4 with his lap. So that's actually in 10th off the pole time Robin Panzer now. Obviously, Panzer on the 17.9s. This is sort of where we expect them to be coming from the practice times. But, you know, anything is utterly possible.
And remember as well that Chiappini is in a championship fight with Valeriano, and that has actually put him another position ahead of Valeriano. In fact, the row ahead, so he'll be starting directly ahead of him on the grid. And all the way through a championship, you have to be thinking about where your nearest rival is. And although you shouldn't necessarily look directly at them in terms of the timesheet, because a lot of the time that makes you overcook things, but definitely gaining that extra position will be good for his championship hopes there. And the greatest thing about competition, I found, is the competition itself, the rivalry between two drivers. A lot of drivers going to racing with the sole aim of finding a rival and racing them for a long time. And for me, of course, that was quite obviously going to end up being my brother, who is quite similar on pace to me, and very, very aggressive. So in terms of on the track, so seeing a championship fight like this as well between the 2 Italian drivers, it definitely brings a new dynamic to the series, and that's great to see. Oh, David Marocek there, up into fifth position with that lap. The actual lap as well. Well, I'm not sure why I didn't see that one coming, because that was looking good in the other sectors. And Rodger up to 5th. And now, as the session ticks to 0, Panzer really doesn't need to be setting this lap, because he is not... Wow! Well, he had absolutely no one else contending with him there, so he didn't really need to set such a quick lap. But Panzer has improved his lap again to a 1:17.773. That's the pole position. That's the end of that. And that's 0.262 ahead of anyone else, over closer to 0.3 of a second than anything else there for Robin Panzer over Victor Ivanov. A brilliant lap, and that means that the grid order here is Panzer, Ivanov, White, Chiappini, Marocek, Godek. Oh, Godek got ahead of Valeriano there. So, oh no, that was when Marocek jumped up. So Valeriano down to 7th with that. So a pretty disappointing qualifying from Valeriano, but we've seen in the past he's never been the best qualifier. He just seems to get it back in the race somehow. Then it's Danny van der Neert, and then Lukashek, Coleman, Opicini, Scrivens, Berens, Gyro, Chatipantelis, Morville, Kreis, Siravatsky, and then Luke Maguire rounding out this 19-car grid.
Yeah. And I'm sort of surprised at how low down Dylan Scrivens is, the Musto driver, a lot further down than I expected him to be. But he is, but it's been one of those drivers to be very good on race pace.
Yeah, just like well, that's very Giordano Valeriano, because we saw I remember back at Silverstone, quite a few of the championship contenders had dodgy qualifying sessions then. Valeriano being one of the most notable of those, and he still came through to win the race. So Valeriano has had experiences with not qualifying very well. He always seems to make his way through the order and do better, because Valeriano is a real overtaking, attacking driver, very much like Schiappini as well. And he always seems to just rise to the top.
Yeah, exactly. And we're now going to take a short break, and then we'll return very shortly back to the end of warm-up session here for Formula Sim Racing. See you in a few minutes.
Hey man, I got that new TMX Thrustmaster wheel. It's going down.
Xbox One?
I can't wait to play when I get home.
Yo, let me play.
Yeah, I have to play first. Yeah.
You know, I'll race it for it.
So I have a hand.
Guys, on that road, keep it up.
Whoa, wait!
Oh no, big mistake! Edwards got back last and down to 10. No, now he's over.
It has been an absolutely astonishing season.
So, welcome back now to the Formula SimRacing ACE Championship round from the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza. Again, I'm joined by Alex Skinner for the duration of this broadcast. We're just waiting for the start of this race. Alex, what did we see earlier in the pro race to do with strategy and tyres? I wouldn't have thought that this would be a very high wearing track, but what do you expect?
Well, as I actually, I was making sure I kept a very close eye on the pro race earlier, just to see what these guys were doing and what the teams were using respective strategy-wise. A lot of the time, the ultras can actually go quite a fair distance. Gerloff de Vries pushed his tyres, pretty much nearly towards the halfway distance with his set and did a one stop in the end, and that really paid out in his favour, getting the podium place in the end. But there is going to be there's a lot of open strategy here. And it can range from either, one stop or two stop. You won't see many three stops because the tyre wear's not high enough. So it'll be a balance between one and two stops. I think a lot of teams will probably, in the top 10, will probably go ultras, run them as long as possible, and then go on to the softs or even the supers if they can make them last. Whilst other teams, will either run the softs or the supers and take them as long as possible, and then have a quick stint on the ultras towards the end. And I think that's going to be the deciding factor, who takes their tyres the longest.
Okay, thanks, Alex. We've seen things like that in the past as well. I remember actually at Paul Ricard, there was quite a lot of sort of how long can you make the tyres last, and there were people really, really pushing it past, a long way past where I thought they could do, and those people came out on top. Very similar fact at Hockenheim, actually, which was all about the tyre strategy. That's one thing that I always take away from a Formula Sim racing race. A lot of the time, you really don't know what the order is going to be like until the checkered flag falls. A lot of the time, you can start to guess, but you never quite know, because there can always be, a driver whose tyres really start to grow up to go off towards the end, and other drivers end up getting bunched up behind it, and there's a big battle. I've seen all of those things really, really quite often here, so definitely don't rule anything out until right at the very end. We now have about 40 seconds of warm-up left, so that gives us a good chance to just have one last look at this Autodromo Nazionale di Monza circuit before it's seen in anger at the start of the race. It's a track with a lot of history and a lot of it's got a big what's the word for it? A big reputation as a race circuit because it's been hosting Grand Prix since the very early days. It hosted a World Championship Grand Prix in the first year of the World Championship, and used to have that really high banked oval as well, which you can still see going around the circuit. That's still there to this day. So it's definitely one that the drivers like, but a lot of them have been calling it very stop-start recently with the artificial chicanes that they've been putting in since the late 70s. Although that, of course, in the interest of safety. And to be honest, it probably makes the racing closer as well.
Yeah, exactly. The racing that you get nowadays, you know, even though it has got that artificialness, you know, to the circuits, and you know, a lot of the time it does help, and it just means it keeps cars going and it keeps these fights alive. If this track was as it was, you know, back in the 70s, we wouldn't have the racing, you know, we wouldn't have the racing we do at the moment. So, you know, anything's possible.
So away we go now on the formation lap at the start of the race. It's going to be a 40-lap race. This lap does not count, and it's Robin Pansar leading us around in the Avidtronic Racing engineering car. He's followed by Victor Ivanov in the NetRex Grand Prix car, and then Kian White for flag to flag. Following them, David Schiappini hoping to gain points on his rival Giordano Valeriano today. David Mrocek is 5th, and then Marek Godek. And then there is Valeriano, our championship leader, in 7th position. Danny van der Neert is 8th, followed by Matthias Coleman. Adriano Opporcini running the Halo, I notice, which isn't a very popular decision, but oh well. He will be followed by Dylan Scrivens with that very bright purple helmet. Mark Berens, Felipe Aguero, Wojciech Lukaszek, George Chatsapantelis. Yuri Silvatsky, I've noticed, is actually starting from the pits, but he should have been followed by Ton van Egmond, who will now be elevated to position, as well as Luke Maguire. And right at the back will be Phil Kreis after a penalty. So that is the order. We have 19 cars here today. Any pre-race predictions that you can put in and risk the commentator's curse with, Alex?
Well, as I've been known by many people in the endurance racing scene, I'm very good at cursing people whenever I speak. So, transfers over here today. But no, I definitely have a feeling that Robin Panzar can control. But the NetRex guys and the flag guys have all of them. So I will be very, very curious as to how they will do here. Kian White can come up through that field, just having seen him race, and I've seen Ivanov and Panzer race, you know, for years now. I just think Kian's got that pace and that outright speed and tyre life to be able to make it work.
Yeah, I'm going to say you should never count out Kian White because, of course, joining this series and winning it on your first race is highly impressive. And the great thing about the Monza circuit is that you get a slipstream for longer because it's got so many straights, which means that the gaps between the cars are effectively smaller than they seem, which means that domination here is rare. And that's a very good thing. Good thing to see as the drivers are lining up on the grid at the start of the race. We're just waiting for the last driver to make his way into position. That's Phil Kreis at the back. He pulls into position. Now we wait for the starting lights.
I've just noticed that Kian White's a bit further ahead of his line of the grid slot line. He is very far in front of his grid slot on this track.
Well, obviously the game's counting it because the lights are coming on. But here we go. 5 red lights. And away we go. The race has begun. Robin Panzer goes straight over to defend from Victor Ivanov. I was absolutely expecting that. He pulls over to the inside. Look at White coming through on the outside. Gets slightly on the grass, actually. That was a close one. Now, does everyone make it through this tight first chicane without incident? Well, a couple of small instances of contact near the back, but it's all clean there. Robin Panzer leads from Ivanov, White, Schiappini and Mrocek. Those are the top 5 as we head towards the Variante del Rodger. Ooh, slight look there. Schiappini taking a look at Kian White.
Giro and Crash have crashed. Giro's out of the race already.
An incident near the back. Unfortunately, at the start, we've already lost one driver. Felipe Giro is out. Felipe Kraus appears to, or Phil Kraus rather. Wait, don't say Felipe. Has got away pretty much undamaged from what I can see, although I haven't looked at the suspension yet and the steering angle. I'll have to have a look at that in a bit. But near the front, still formation there. Although a move, I think, being attempted by Marek Godek. Did he drop a couple of places? Whoa, huge crash. Car up on its side. Mark Berens going up on his side, spinning the car around at the chicane. A big sort out in the mid-pack. Now, how did that happen? That was contact with George Chatzipantelis, who seemed to go over, not expecting Behrens to be there. Behrens' car got flipped up onto its side. Luckily, not much damage, although George Chatzipantelis has... Oh, he's retired. So unfortunately, I spoke too soon there. We've lost Chatzipantelis. We've lost Matthias Coleman, I'm afraid. Oh, Danny van der Neert's out. That's a separate accident. Oh, huge crash. Huge crash at the final corner. It was a lag issue with Coleman. Coleman lagged back into Van der Neert. Van der Neert's car flipped over. Coleman's car flipped over. They're both out. And it's neither of their faults, I'm afraid. So, unfortunately, we've lost them. And into the pits after that lap came Godek and Behrens. Unfortunately, a lap that looked as if it was going to be clean early on turned out not to be clean whatsoever. The order after the first lap: Pansar, Ivanov, White, Schiappini, Mrocek, Valeriano, Lukashek, Scrivens, Opportuni and Maguire. Maguire up from the back of the grid, remember. Then it's Van Egmond, Suravatsky, Kreis, Behrens, and then our retirements are Godek, Van der Neert, Coleman, Chatzipantelis and Giro. So we've lost several cars on that opening lap of the race there. Godek, of course, did pit, but obviously found that his car hadn't been repaired enough to continue, and that means that we've lost 5 cars on this opening lap of the race.
Yeah, it's a shame indeed. And Danny van der Neer also actually breaking a rule in FSR, actually typing in the race chat during the middle of the race. So if he did actually cause an accident, he would have been in very big trouble indeed. It's great to see that, it's sad to see that obviously Godek and Van der Neer, Coleman, and did the battle and Keaton's going down the inside of Victor Ivanov into turn 1. It's going to be very tight indeed.
Done this fight contact.
There's not a lot of room. And he's made the move stick. And now that means Ivanov's under pressure from Schiappini.
Goodness me, well, they slightly rub wheels, but look at Ivanov. Schiappini taking a look to the inside. He's forcing the issue, although has to back out of it because there was no room there. And that would undoubtedly have resulted in more contact. But there was contact between White and Ivanov. Oh, just about there. They were just kind of rubbing wheels. It was almost like touring car racing, really. And Kian White pulled it off and went through into second position. I told you that White would be the driver to look out for in this race, and he's definitely proving that today. 14 cars remaining, and Kian White is up into second position here, ahead of Victor Ivanov and David Schiappini. Giordano Valeriano is up to sixth position after the first couple of laps sort out. And following him is the rest of the pack. But Pansar leads it, and he's actually built up quite a nice lead here. It's almost 2 seconds. It's over 2 seconds after lap 2. But watch the battle for second. Ivanov has the DRS, which is interesting. I didn't think it opened for a couple of laps. But Ivanov, textbook, but he's missed it. It was textbook initially, but he's completely missed the chicane. He left his braking too late, and he's going to have to give that place back. Ian White going through on the inside. He's going to have to give this up to Schiappini too in the process, surely. There we go. Schiappini through into third position. Ivanov went for one place and lost another. Now Schiappini taking a look for second position, but not close enough into the chicane that time around. Ivanov will be feeling quite silly with that, really, because that was a good opportunity for him, and he just didn't make that corner.
Yeah, and it was very, very, very late braking move. They both, trying to find who would be the last. But like Schiappini now going to have DRS from Kian White. This is going to be a very, very quick closing speed indeed. Already on the back of him, already pulling to the inside, going into Ascari. This isn't usually an overtaking spot. He's not done it, but he's now going to be under pressure from Ivanov. But Ascari you can overtake here.
You need to be so far alongside your opponent to actually pass there. But look at White now and Schiappini again. He was taking a different approach to that corner to the other, simply so he could see the braking zone. But Schiappini there, now getting a proper slingshot out of the parabolica. It's a real slingshot corner, and he goes to the inside as early as before the finish line. And now Schiappini takes the second place. Does he make the corner? Surely he does. Yes, he does. Passes Kian White. Up into second goes Schiappini. Third is White, then Ivanov, Rodger and Valeriano. A textbook overtake from Schiappini using the slipstream, and that would have been relatively easy for him.
Just as obviously before the race we started talking about, the strategies that we could see, and obviously I know it's only lap 4, but I'm just looking down the grid, and the Adams pit for damage at all are Dylan Scrivens and Luke Maguire, and they are both on the super softs. So they're going to be going very, very long in this stint indeed. But now Victor Ivanov is going to have DRS in white. But it's not going to make much of a difference.
Now, again, that's a difficult place to overtake, and a lot of overtakes there end in disaster. But I don't think they would have been close enough anyway. It's really down into the first chicane that you really get the opportunity. Now, Ivanov needs to have looked at what Schiappini did last time around and get that slingshot off the final corner. Learn from his rivals. He opens the DRS now, although... oh, yeah, he is going to the inside of white, and actually that's going to be just as easy. Braking into the chicane. There we go. Again, textbook. 3 goes. Ivanov with the slipstream up into 3rd position now, ahead of white. There's been a decent amount of swapping at this point in the order in this race. That's with the help of the slipstream, which is probably one of the most celebrated forces in racing, and it's allowed Victor Ivanov to get up into 3rd position for now.
But what this has also allowed to happen is it's also allowed Robin Panzer in the ACR Zaxby car to just pull away. He's now 2.6 seconds ahead of Davide Schiappini as they came through the first sector split. Obviously, as he comes through towards the second sector split, we'll be able to get a bit more of a gauge, and it's gone down by 10, so Schiappini currently quicker. But it just seems that these guys are the pace to match Robin Panzer, but that could just be because they're fighting for all we know. But also this fight, you can now see that David Moracek and Giordano Valeriano are very, very close to back, and so is Wojciech Lukaszek. Lukaszek is a very quick guy, and I've known him for a few years to see how quick he is. So it'll be very interesting to see what he can do as they come down the front straight. It is going to be under pressure without the DRS from what I can see, but Kian just doesn't seem to have the top speed on him.
There has been a move on pretty much every lap down that straight, although not this lap by the looks of things. But, well, Opportuni took a look at Luke Maguire in the at the time. Didn't come to anything though. But as you say, it's very, very close at this top part of the order, and Wojciech Lukaszek is stalking them, hunting them down, and waiting for them to take chunks of time out of each other. And I'm sure he will be right with this battle very, very shortly. He's already within a second of Valeriano, so Lukaszek getting involved here. Although, interestingly, David Schiappini appears to be pulling away from this group a bit. He was over a second ahead of Ivanov across the start-finish line. Not quite through that last sector though, so still close. Might even be within DRS range, Ivanov might be, but I'd look further back to Moracek and White, as Moracek is going to get the properly close quarter slipstream down this straight. Watch him as he opens the DRS. This is going to be relatively easy for Moracek. I can't help but feel he's going to the outside here, and actually can't make it stick yet. White brakes decently late. And as they slot through the chicane, he's pulled it off anyway. So a great move there from David Moracek to go through into 4th position there ahead of Kian White in a very similar way as White did to someone else earlier as well.
Yeah, I was about to say that White was almost having a look at Moracek into De La Roja, which definitely isn't overplaced on their short side of coming through Curva Grande, but I think the ACR Zaxby cars are sort of starting to get into their stride now. They usually start off well. They usually then sort of take a bit to get into their stride. But the second they hit that stride, they will start pulling that gap and start getting that speed. Even between the leaders has come down to 1.8. So another lap and Schiappini might be in DRS range.
Interestingly, we are now 1-1 on getting muddled up with another series, as the ACR car has no association with Zaxby in Formula Sim racing, but never mind. Just shows that we do commentate a lot of series. But anyway, down the start finish straight we go again, and we're going to have DRS cars pretty much all the way down.
Oh yeah, Valeriano was trying to have a look Sorry, Josh. Valeriano
That's
was
fine.
trying to have a look down the inside of Kian White going into turn 1. So your man of the moves was trying to make a move on Kian White. He didn't manage to get it done because he just didn't have the overspeed going to the corner, and Kian did defend really well. But it seems that the Musto is very restless.
Yeah, Valeriano there. I saw that he was getting close to White. I didn't think he was going to get quite close enough to actually make a move, and I was right. But he certainly showed himself to the mirrors of White ahead. A lot of the time, if you can just kind of put yourself right where they can see you, then they'll go unnecessarily defensive, and a lot of the time that can allow you to go through. That's what commentators refer to as forcing them into a mistake. Of course, we don't literally mean forcing them into a mistake by, shoving them wide or something like that. But if you can just intimidate your opponent, sometimes they will make a mistake, and you will go through. I've used that tactic sometimes myself, and it's a lot of fun when it works. When you see your opponent defending when they really don't need to, and you end up going through as a result. But anyway, back onto the straight again. Will Valeriano take 2 swipes to make this work? He's getting close, but not close enough again. And still Valeriano sticks behind White, and White as well, about as close to Rodger. In turn as well, Ivanov and Schiappini have got a lot closer than they were before for second place there, so that gap's come down a bit. Ivanov and Schiappini. And indeed, those two are catching Panzer, so the top 3 almost separated by 2 seconds now. We might well be on for effectively a 7-car battle for the lead of the race here.
Obviously, that gap's only come down by a couple of hundredths in that recent sector split. So those guys have sort of managed to balance that out, or Panzer has decided, actually, I'm going to start legging it away from you. He saved his tyres, cooled them down, and let them go. It's come to 0.06 that lap, so that sector, sorry. So there's not much time being gained by Schiappini now, but as we say that, obviously Victor Ivanov very, very close to the back of him coming through Parabolica, so that is definitely going to be a move down into turn 1 with the DRS.
Well, definitely is a strong word, but let's see if it pulls off as the DRS opens on quite a few drivers there, and the order, I think, has already changed. It has. Ivanov there, slipstreaming straight past David Schiappini, as into the pits comes Wojciech Lukaszek. That was where I was slightly distracted by the order kind of changing there, and he goes onto the soft tyre. As Opportuni and Maguire, they're making contact in the chicane as Opportuni goes down the inside of Maguire. Maguire turns in, and it's front to rear contact, but they both get away with it relatively well there. And indeed, Ivanov did get past Schiappini there, so Ivanov into second, Schiappini down to third, and Opportuni managed to pull the move on Maguire at the same time.
Right, so I'm going to bring it back to a bit of strategy quickly. Just looking at, obviously, the fact that Lukaszek has pitted lap 10, towards the end of lap 10. So he's really sort of trying to find that tyre strategy that works. He's pushed the tyre, but it depends where the leaders now go, because if the leaders don't pit in the next couple of laps, it's definitely going to be on a 2-stop strategy, I feel. But the fact he's now on the soft tyres, I think, means he's going to be trying to stay on. Nearly making contact with Kian White through Parabolica, but now going to be coming down the front straight. Going to be in the DRS detection, and it's going to be waiting for that DRS to open. There goes the DRS flap on the back of that Musto car, down towards turn 1. Is he going to have the overspeed? It doesn't look like it. So it seems that Musto must be running a higher wing than flag to flag at the moment. Or it looks like they're running a higher wing than most cars at the moment, it seems. So I think that could be the downfall that they have. They're running a bit too high downfalls for this circuit.
Yeah, it's a real mistake at Monza. A lot of series, actually, you can quite clearly see how much lower the rear wing is than at other tracks. I remember in Formula Renault 3.5 in the old days, there was a massive difference between their other rear wings and their Monza rear wings, which were only used once. But in this series, or in racing as a whole, you need to run the minimum downforce you can get away with at Monza, seeing as there are such long straights and so many straights as well. The track is pretty much straight, separated by chicanes, and as a result, you can't afford to have more rear wing than your opponents. So Valeriano might well be regretting his setup here today, being stuck behind his opponents. Normally, I'm used to seeing him climbing up the order a lot faster than this, but still stuck behind Kieran White for now.
Now Victor Ivanov in press range of Robin Panzer. He's now 1 second the ACR driver, as David A. Chiappini getting very close for comfort as well. So we've a fight for the lead between the ACR, the Netrex, and also the Pescara.
We have a three-way fight for the lead here, as you said. DRS stretches all the way back there. Both Ivanov and Chiappini will get it in every DRS zone. So Panzer leads it, but can he hold off the swarm of drivers behind him? The gap between the three of them is now just 1 second. That's very, very close indeed. But Panzer still leading for now, followed by Ivanov and Chiappini. There is DRS down this straight here, but we don't normally expect to see moves into that corner. Wow, the gap's still just 1 second there. I'm sure I was going to say something else, but I can't remember what it was. Although I think that Lukaszek will be going for a one-stop strategy here, seeing as he's on the soft compound of tyre rather than the super soft. If he'd gone onto the super soft, then I would have questioned the two-stop. With soft here, I reckon he's trying to make his tyres last. There's no way.
Driven left, Robin Panzer into turn 1. He's got to try it running outside.
Again.
He's done mistake. He's going to have to give that place back, and he might lose second to Chiappini again. I think he's not going to make the same mistake though. I think he's going to get on the power a bit earlier, let Panzer through, and then he's going to duck back in, but it's going to be
no,
round the outside of Gerber Grande.
There's contact. My word, that's very, very close there, and a bit clumsy as well. You can't do that when you're giving way to another driver. Of course, he wasn't giving way to Chiappini, but he just slowed to let Panzer through after making the same mistake again at the chicane. But made contact with Chiappini, and it was very close to being a big accident. I've seen drivers locking wheels like that and getting just spewed off into the scenery. Luckily, that didn't happen, but certainly got my heart racing. Looking back at that, it was just another case of Ivanov trying to brake too late into the chicane, getting past Panzer initially, and then just going straight on. That was even worse than the first time he did it. And he had to let Panzer back through again. But when Chiappini went through on the outside, actually, to be honest, I think Chiappini came over a bit on Ivanov. Ivanov was holding his line there, and although Ivanov was coming out a bit, I think that well, I'd have to call it a racing incident if I was a steward there, and luckily there was no further incident as Chiappini took second place.
Now, what's also now happened because of that is all three guys have now slowed themselves up. And now we've got Kieran White and Giordano Valerio, but also not that far behind them. You know, only about another, say, 7 seconds, which isn't that far around Monza. That time can be quite easily gained back if they're. And if you've got that car set up nailed and strategy, is Dylan Scrivens now. So both Mustos currently 6 and 7 in this race at the moment. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they do. But Panzer has now just gone even further. Chiappini out of DRS range, obviously only 1.3 seconds back. Kieran White is on David Mocek. He won't make the move here. He'll have to do it into turn 1. But it's just showing that these guys are all bunching up. It's basically the Constantina effect. The minute these guys pull away, they somehow manage to find a way just to close right back up to each other.
Interestingly there, Luke Maguire pitted again for a set of soft tyres, despite actually starting on the super soft. Which I find a little bit bizarre, that because a lot of the drivers on Ultrasofts have managed to really make their tyres last here.
Chiappini in. Chiappini's in. Let's see what tyres he does. Goes on to the soft, so there. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of one-stopping going. Can really last that time. But where's he going to come out in respect to watch his Lukaszek? Because he was the only other car that he was really fighting strategy ones out of the pit lane. perfectly ahead. Lukaszek has only just come across the start-finish line. Chiappini's going into turn 1.
He's found some nice clean air there. Actually, I'm not sure because Phil Price is just ahead of him there. But Chiappini at least doesn't have anyone attacking him as he goes out of the...
Kian White has somehow gotten past David Rodger.
Yeah.
Rodger. Now there's
Okay,
DRS
so-
for both of those guys. So where has David where's Kian gotten past David?
Well, that would have been down into the first chicane. It was just a case of White outbraking him into the chicane, just getting through without any contact. So good move from Kian White. He gets ahead of David Moracek. They're 3rd and 4th on the road, although of course about 4th and 5th in terms of the overall order, or the effective order when Chiappini, or because Chiappini has pitted. Now, who else comes in on this lap? I'm expecting the pit stops to come thick and fast very, very shortly, but all of the top guys staying out so far, and we're still very
Dylan
close between...
Scribner. Now you said about who is it coming in? Luke Maguire coming on the super softs only on lap 14.
Yeah,
2 laps later, Dylan Scrivens has come in on the super softs, and he's going to be switching onto the softs. So super soft tyres are really working that well here. I think they're not getting up to the temperature they need to be, but it's going to allow Wojciech Lukaszek and David A. Chiappini, who's just passed Philip Kraus into turn 1. Good move by him. Simple late braking maneuver with DRS. So the American now drops down to P8 at the moment, which means now Chiappini's gone Van Egmond in his sights. But I think the super softs aren't going to be a tire of choice. I think these guys are sitting out here, seeing what the other drivers are doing, seeing what their lower down teammates are doing, and then using that to fix their strategy. So Kian will be relying on Tom and Phil. You know, Victor's actually, I don't think Victor's got a teammate here today, so I think he's got to go out on his own limb here. Panzer has got Rodger as well. So these guys are all going to be relying on their teammates to see what tyre strategies will work. And as I say that, Panzer into the pits.
Yeah, Panzer pits from the lead. He's on the Oxtoss at the minute.
White is the only White stays out,
and Ivanov pits as well as Valeriano. So 3 of the top guys in this race have come into the pits, and Panzer's going to have to... Oh, he's hit Valeriano in the pits! Oh my word! Panzer's hit Valeriano in the pits. He's spun the car around. That's going to cost our effective race leader a lot of time. He won't be effectively leading up to that. He's retired! Robin Panzer has crashed in the pit lane. That is an utter disaster for our previous race leader, who has crashed into the back of Giordano Valeriano in the pit lane and retired from the race. I tell you what happened.
Chiappini's also jumped Ivanov as well. Sorry, Chiappini's jumped Ivanov in the pit stops.
Well, Panzer, he got going from his grid box pretty much side by side with Valeriano, who had to pit. And as Valeriano pitted, Panzer attempted to swing out into the lane, but as Valeriano was braking, quite rightly, Panzer ended up going into his rear wheel and spinning the car around, and hopefully Valeriano doesn't have any damage from that. He actually had to back into his grid box, so that would have cost Valeriano a lot of time as well. And Valeriano now has come out behind Lukaszek, and I think Lukaszek has pitted. Yeah, he has. So that means that Valeriano has lost a lot of time, and Panzer is out.
Right, Kian White in and so's Moracek. This is crunch time now because these guys could take the effect quick enough with their pit stops. Kian hits his marks absolutely perfectly, unlike his teammates in the pro race who didn't exactly hit their marks that perfectly. And Kian goes on the ultras. Kian's 2-stopping.
Yeah, Kian 2-stopping, so we got a real mix of strategies today.
Supers are going to work.
Both on supers, yeah, both on supers.
My game hadn't synchronized. Sorry, my game hadn't synchronized. So Kian, going on supers, do they these tyres last 22 laps, and the others have only managed to make them last 14?
Wow, so that's a big shake-up of the race now. We're expecting possibly a 2-stop from both White and Rodger. Chiappini leads us around, followed by Ivanov, White, Rodger, Lukaszek, Valeriano, Scrivens, Siravatsky, Opportuni, Van Egmond, Kraus, Maguire, and Behrens. Behrens pits now. I think that we've had every driver in this race pitting now. Everyone notable anyway. I still believe...
Yeah,
well, I don't think...
everyone's coming to the pits now. Burens is the last guy to come into the pits. Goes on the super
Yeah.
softs, having the best of races in his race. You know, he's leaders, but he's, you know, at this point you just want to get to the end in classification to get points. That's all you need. You know, 13 cars remaining. Sorry, he's going to get points.
Wow, what an absolute disaster in the pits, though. I still can't believe what I've just seen. In the pit lane of this race, I've never seen anything like that before, and I don't.
Rodger versus White. Sorry to interrupt you again, Josh.
That's fine.
Rodger with a DRS. Going to Ryan maybe diving down the inside. No, he's going to back out. He wants to save any stupid moves at this point of the race, and I can understand that totally. He could have easily gone to the inside, made a late dive, and pretty much done what Ivanov's been doing for the past time. You know, going for what seem to be suicidal dive bombs, but sometimes they do work, sometimes they don't. But what this means actually at the moment is that Chiappini is the leader now, is the overall effective, you know, on-track race leader. So Chiappini could win this race.
Yeah, he's really got away from that rather well. There, I'm quite glad you interrupted me at that point, actually, because I was just doing a commentator's waffle anyway. But yeah, Chiappini up into the lead, still close though. Don't forget that Ivanov is now going along with his rear wing open, because he's within DRS range of David Chiappini here, and that means that he's still definitely in attacking range. He just needs to get good exits and get closer and closer to Chiappini until he can overtake him. But yeah, Chiappini from 4th place on the grid is up into the lead of the race now, as his rivals collide in the pit lane. Or some of his rivals collide in the pit lane. Ivanov now, the gap is 7/10 of a second as they both start.
Rodger on White. Again, backs off. Now, I think Rodger is literally just going to be using this, saving fuel. Obviously, these guys can easily make it to the end on fuel. You know, they've got half distance. You know, it's half distance race of the real life Grand Prix. They don't need to worry too much about the, you know, the fuel they've got in the car. But they still like to run as light as they possibly can do. So I think that Rodger and I think a couple of other drivers who know are very close to cars in front are just using this opportunity now just to save fuel. As much as, you know, I'm getting all excited seeing Rodger, you know, getting him back off now makes me think he's saving fuel, and that wouldn't surprise me one bit. It probably also means that he doesn't have to do that later in the race, whereas Kian's going to have to maybe do that later and then lose more time. So this could be a very, very close race coming towards the end, as Viktor Ivanov is only 4/10 off the back of Chiappini now.
Ivanov is properly pulling in the gap now. He's within half a second of Chiappini. Surely he's going to have an attack this time around, going down into turn 1. He just needs to get a good drive through the final corner, and he's getting that. So this is going to be Ivanov's chance here. He's in the slipstream. He's going to have the DRS. Viktor Ivanov opens his rear wing now, and he gets closer and closer to Chiappini. Chiappini goes defensive to the inside. Ivanov goes to the outside, needs to make the corner, remember. And Chiappini gets there first, so Chiappini stays ahead for now. Ivanov had his first real attack there, although couldn't quite get himself far enough ahead of Chiappini for attempt to hold it around the outside. Next time lucky, surely.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just taking a thing at the moment. Just obviously remember in the pro race that it was pretty much very good domination by Netrex in that pro race. They had it pretty much associated the race from lights to flag with Ben Horrell having issues. I think if Ivanov can get in the lead and get away, I think that might be the same story here. But obviously Netrex is going to be looking to take out all 3 slots today. You know, every team wants to do that. They want to win Pro, ACE and World Championship. As Ivanov gets so close to the back of Chiappini coming into the entry of Ascari, as they come through the exit, he just seems to lose time going very wide. Obviously, that's perfectly legal by the exception rules. Sorry, but that's going to have lost him a fair amount of time coming towards Parabolica and coming onto the start-finish straight.
I said in qualifying, it's all about momentum here, and running over the grass is one of the key ways to kill your momentum. Although he's still just 6/10 of a second behind. This isn't close enough to attack, I think, but he's still close. Surely Daniel Ricciardo would have gone for that, but you know, a lot of the time that's not the best thing to do. And Ivanov sticks behind Chiappini for now. might have been in proper attacking range if he hadn't made that mistake at the Ascari. The problem is, though, when you run this close to the car ahead, you get the turbulent air coming off their aerodynamics, and this is the point where it's quite easy to make mistakes, especially seeing as you don't really have as much visibility when you have another car blocking your way. But again, not making excuses for Ivanov, that was just a mistake which has possibly cost him the lead for now.
I wouldn't say that's cost him the lead. I think he's now going to be doing what Rodger's doing, because I was riding on board with Rodger as he closed up to the back of Kian down that front straight, and he was lifting off quite substantially. Not just the minute he got closer, just lifted off, you know. So I think this is what both of them are going to be doing. Obviously, Ivanov's going to be going for moves because he wants to lead this race. You know, everyone wants to lead this race. But I think if he's smart enough, he'll go in, use that time now to save fuel and just cruise, and then go for the attack later on when Chiappini's got to do it. Unless Chiappini's also saving fuel, and then we're pretty much a checkmate anyway.
Well, here we go. Ivanov to the inside of Chiappini. He's got the inside line. He brakes later. That's a good opportunity, and through he goes. Viktor Ivanov leads the race here at Monza. He's passed Chiappini, and as they exit the corner, it is the Netrex car ahead of the Pescara car, and Chiappini could have done nothing about that. Ivanov leads it, and well, that's done and dusted finally.
Yeah, those two guys can actually get on with their race, even though I know they won't fight each other for the rest of the race. But I think the only one really playing properly strategical at the moment are Kian and David, both really, you know, trying to save fuel with each other. But I know those guys are pretty much taking it easy right now. They're not using up that tyre life as well. Because remember, they're on a soft compound, so they won't along with the pace difference that they've got. So I think, case we can end up seeing the guys on the these guys on the supers might be getting a bit more pace and tyre life out of those cars towards the end if Chiappini and Ivanov keep fighting.
Well, they might, because Chiappini is going to be about as close as Ivanov was to him last time around. Are we going to see a sort of kart race swapping of the order forwards and back every lap? Well, Chiappini is about to attempt it. I think he's going to the inside. He's too far back, I tell you. So Chiappini has to really put on the brakes to avoid the rear end of Ivanov's car. Locks up the rear slightly and kicks out the tail, but stays behind Ivanov for now. That was a bit of a close one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, and he's going for it again. He's well, I thought he might again, just showing himself to the mirrors. Meanwhile, Phil Kraus passing Tom Van Egmond for 10th position there on the start-finish straight. I would say that's the last point-paying position, but points go down to 15th position here, and that means that everyone who finishes will score points.
Yeah, I'm just looking obviously at these guys at the front at the moment, just trying to evaluate. Is Ivanov going very defensive coming towards the sky, which he doesn't really need to do, so he's really just wasting time, I think, allowing himself to, be pressured into a mistake at the moment. But, these guys are fighting. Kian White is only, a second and a half off the leader now, so he's only a second off of Chiappini, sorry. So he's going to have DRS this time round.
He is. Here he comes. So, Ivanov, Chiappini and White now. I'm not sure if White is going to get DRS. He's going to be close. He won't quite.
Yeah,
but
just by 10th.
Across the line they go. Chiappini close to Ivanov. Really needs to stay in the slipstream there, but not quite close enough. As into the pits now comes Wojciech Lukaszek. He was the first to pit in the first pit stage as well, and now he pits first again and goes onto another set of soft tyres. That will surely take him to the end. What's Chiappini? Chiappini going to the outside of Del Rodger, and is he going to keep this? No, they contact.
No,
there's contact.
I think
Chiappini in the gravel, and that was never going to work. Surely he gets it going again and starts the engine. But Kian White goes through into second. Rodger is third. Valeriano is fourth, and Chiappini has really thrown that away. Now, what happened there was that Chiappini attempted to go around the outside of Ivanov. When he realised that it wasn't going to work, he really should have straightened out and just missed the chicane. But instead, he tried to make it, and the car very nearly
I'd
swapped
actually
ends.
counter you there, because I'd counter you there, Josh, because he was already on the inside. He was firing off alongside, and he wasn't really given any room by Victor Ivanov. But obviously, that's down to the stewards and the race directors. Obviously, Chris Cobb with us, and as I say that, Mark Barron's pitch just as he's about to get lapped. But Kian White, obviously in second now, has got the DRS. He's going to go for the lead into turn 1, side by side. And that is job done, I say, as long as Kian gets a decent exit. And David Rodger then now up to third, obviously. Going to be very close. Are any of them going to try and move through Curva Grande? There, and I don't think anyone's going to make a dive into into Della Rosa. As I say that, David Rodger nearly making a dive himself.
Tell you what, the last sector time registered that the three of them were separated by just 0.3 of a second. You never see that at this stage of a single-seater race, but just then we just did, and I'm very surprised that there wasn't any sort of overtake or incident or anything like that into the chicane. Because I certainly would have gone for something, and I probably would have taken them all out. But anyway, through they go, and White is still leading us from Ivanov, from Rodger. Of course, a lap ago, or 2 laps ago, it looked as if the battle for the lead was between Ivanov and Schiappini. It's completely changed now, and Kian White is leading it.
For a second, I thought Rodger was going to bollock her, which would have completely ruined his momentum, but thankfully holds back and he's now going to get the DRS down towards turn 1.
Yeah, and that's going to be pretty straightforward. He's going to pass him pretty much at the finish line. Oh, well, as he pulls out of the slipstream, there's no overspeed, and he has to pull the move in the braking zone. So that wasn't as easy as I expected. But Rodger through into second anyway, Ivanov down to third, and Kian White actually has got a bigger gap than he would have expected to have had.
What? Now, I'm just obviously thinking back to Lukaszek putting a couple of laps ago. He's only made those tyres lost another 12 or 13. So, unless people are struggling for tyre wear at the moment, with obviously the less cars compared to Pro, the less rubber on the track, so the less grip you get and the more the tyres wear, I think there is a real problem going on at the moment. But obviously, these guys managing to make their tyres last a really long time. I think it's just a certain select few struggling with their tyre wear. But obviously, as we come towards the later stage, the only really competitive software at the moment is Victor Ivanov, and he's in third.
Goodness me, we had a close situation there between Tom Van Egmond and Luke Maguire for 10th place. Van Egmond went up the inside of Maguire, and by it up the inside, I mean over the grass on the inside. Pretty much sideways in avoidance, and then he gave the place back on the exit of the Variante del Rodger. So that was a close one, but they've got away with it, and very good that Van Egmond gave the position back. And Luke Maguire still in 10th place, but after 28 laps of racing, it's White from Rodger, Ivanov, Valeriano, Schiappini, Scrivens, Opportuni, Kraus, Lukaszek, Maguire, Egmond, Siravatsky and Behrens. The odd one out in that being Lukaszek, seeing as he has pitted himself further down the order from where he maybe effectively is. Lukaszek on a two-stop strategy, as we expect some of the other guys near the front might be. So we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, Lukaszek just not making his tyres last as long as we would have expected that. And well, we hope he can make the soft tyres last. I really wouldn't be expecting a 3-stopper today, but of course, one thing to consider is that the later on in the race you get, the more your tyres last, because you're not running in so much dirty air unless you're in a battle or anything, and also your car is lighter at the same time because of the fuel load. Oh, as we have now had the move pulled, Van Egmond on Maguire into Ascari, actually. And Maguire gets very crossed up on the exit there behind Van Egmond. Back in the slipstream down the straight. Now we've seen him... Oh, my word! No, that was a lag issue. Tom Van Egmond very nearly... Was it a lag issue, though? It just seems like...
On my screen, he came back right into the front of Maguire, who then had to check up and, got crossed up himself. So God knows. I'm just going to see. He hasn't
Yeah.
got any suspension damage, so he's okay.
That must have been a lag
Van Engel-
issue there because he was still full throttle.
Yeah. Yeah, but also just taking a look. Behrens is a lap down. He's about to be, lapped by Adriano Opporini and the other Pescara. He's got the pace to be up there. He's not losing much time unless Opportuni's really not pushing at the moment. But it's very confusing as well when drivers, who are lapped down are getting close and they don't move. They obviously think, oh yeah, I've got the pace. I'll sort of push away. When they don't think, I think they don't think strategically sometimes. I did that last year. I didn't think strategically, and I pretty much just dived myself out of the way, much to the avail of every single car that was lapping me. But it just surprises me that some back markers decide to try and pull away or just ditch it instantly when they could sit behind, find an easy place, sit behind, and just follow them for a bit and just see, gain some experience, gain some dirty air, and gain some fuel saving actually, and maybe help their race later on. But just looking up the front, obviously a second separating Rodger at the moment, and then another 1.5 seconds back to Victor Ivanov. So White and Rodger gapping Ivanov. Has Ivanov burnt his tyres out?
Talking of tyres, Luke Maguire pitting for new tyres now from 11th position. Interesting, I've noticed that every time he comes into the pit lane, he slams on the brakes, locks them all up, and destroys whatever he has left of the tyres. Last time, I noticed he was driving down the pit lane sort of sideways. His steering was off. He didn't have suspension damage. That was simply through flat spotting. But anyway.
Oh, we have a fight for 7th going on at the moment, which is Opportuni versus Kraus. So this is Pescara versus Flag to Flag. Opportuni went straight on at turn 1, I think, lapping Mark Behrens. So Kraus can close up, and he's got the DRS. He's going to go to the outside towards Ascari. Opportunity's going to back off and let him through.
Quite rightly.
Very tight indeed.
Yeah, well, certainly he had to back off then. Kraus had that exactly where he needed it and went ahead before the corner. So Phil Kraus up into 7th position now. An opportunity couldn't really have done much about that one once it had started.
And here comes Lukaszek as well. Lukaszek's going to have the DRS coming towards the line this time by, and has that Ghost Speed car got the speed? Has that Ghost Speed car got the speed of the Pescara? The answer is immediately yes, as he opens the DRS into turn 1, almost locking the.
And he's made the corner stick, so Lukaszek up into 8th position ahead of Opportuni. Lukaszek ahead of Opportuni now, 8th and 9th positions, and it's a three-way battle because just up the road is Phil Kraus. Watch Opportuni now coming
to the
back
outside.
To the outside. They nearly touch wheels. They do touch wheels. Oh, and they straighten each other out. That was polite, but anyway, Opportunity's still on the inside. I don't know how they've got away with it. And there's more contact, and again they get away with it. How did that happen? Lukaszek still ahead. They banged wheels 3 times there. And each and every one of those times, it looked like it would result in both of them spinning off. But somehow, they're still in the same order, and somehow they've all got away with it.
I would say I expected him to go down around the outside, but both Pescaras have now tried to make moves at the both of them have failed to do so, except one coming off a lot better than the other. But it was just amazing to see also Opportunity and Lukaszek, Opportuni, and Lukaszek going side by side through the first lane. They're all making it work without contact. Absolutely very impressive driving, and obviously has to be a lot of trust between those two drivers, because that is somewhere you would not be making overtake if you didn't have trust. But again, Opportunity right up down the start-finish straight, gets the better exit out of the first chicane, I say, and then moves back up and have another go next lap.
Well, we've seen Opportunity actually. He went to the outside of the Variante del Rodger last lap. Doesn't do it this lap. Still gets a little bit sideways actually. I just like the way they kind of straightened each other out after the initial contact. It was quite polite actually and caring, but I don't think that was really what they were thinking at the time. And how Opportunity still managed to stay side by side with Lukaszek at the same time. But anyway, Lukaszek still ahead of Opportunity for now. Opportunity still the only driver in this series to be running the Halo device, the highly controversial device, which is a head protection system and is therefore completely useless in sim racing.
Well, you never know if Studio 397 ever implement driver health and driver safety into the game, then Opportunity is the perfectly most protected driver on the entire grid. So much respect to him. But people do bring up the Halo a lot, and that Halo has already proven its worth. Especially with Brendan Hartley's accident in Silverstone a couple of weeks ago. That tyre barrier bounced off the Halo. That would have bounced off his head if that Halo had not been there. So a lot of respect to the FIA for sort of being able to tell that something like that was going to happen this year. But obviously not so much of a need for it in sim racing. But nice to see some teams running it either way. And I remember an old driver of mine who I used to engineer who runs in the Pro Series, Lorenz Doherty, ran it a couple of rounds ago. I don't know if he still runs it. I didn't see today, but it was quite hilarious when he told me was going to be running it, and I literally said to him, "Are you mad?"
Yeah, exactly. I'm not kind of anti Halo. It's great in reality, and indeed, I do think that it definitely reduced the effects of Brendan Hartley's incident. I hate to see a car submarining like that. But my point was that in sim racing, its only job is to look ugly. But anyway, Opportunity there, still running in 9th position in the FSR ACE car. He's getting away a bit now from Tom Van Egmond, and he's also running in clean air because ahead of him is Wojciech Luchek, who is getting away from him a bit as well. We actually only have 6 laps remaining, so I think Luchek might well have shot himself in the foot here, as I don't really know if any of the other guys up the front will have to pit. They're on the super soft tyre, so I thought they would have had to pit a long time ago, and maybe they'll still have to. Maybe they will still have to make a kind of change tyres and dash. Doesn't really work like a splash and dash, but
No, it won't work here. It's series, it has been tried and it doesn't work. You don't have enough time to make it work.
Yeah.
Especially with the shorter distance races, if especially coming towards the end, if you've got that massive pace advantage, say you're Mitchy Hoyer and you've got a load of back markers you could get past to get to the points, it might be worth it if you're out of strategy, if you're completely, your race is completely ruined. But at this sort of stage in ACE, it's not going to be working because the field is, pretty close in performance-wise if they're, in qualifying. And just looking, down the grid a bit, just seeing Phil, Mark Berens going, coming through Curva Grande last lap.
No, talking about Berens, he's actually just had a crash. He got very sideways coming out of the second Lesmo there after just being lapped by Phil Kreis and nosed it into the wall. He's lost his nose. He's going to have to pit for that. He's had a bit of a torrid day, actually. He's going to pick up points for 13th position, but I'm afraid he's going to be a long way behind anyone else at the end of this race, as there are only 13 cars remaining, and he's already a lap down. But Berens now into the pits. Has he lost? No, he just put on the pit limiter very early. Okay, well, Berens into the pits, and he'll be changing his front wing. But the rest of the 12 drivers actually still on the lead lap here, and actually we have quite a high quality grid remaining here. Actually, seems like. I mean, when you see,
I think anyone who gets into ACE is is of a high quality. You don't just get into ACE through being just signing up. You have to have the quality to be able to be an ACE. That's why we have the new license system, the new academy system. To prove your worth. And all of the guys here deserve to be here. They've all shown their pace. They're either pro or proven themselves through pro or through the academy. And all of these guys deserve to be here. So, I wouldn't say, just these 13 cars left, are the high quality drivers. Robin Panzar made a crucial error that he's apologised, to publicly to Giordano for, because, he made that mistake. Beck, Van der Neat, Coleman and Chance Pantelis all had accidents, sort of slightly out of their control, with one of them, having a lag issue, that was out of their control, But people do have these accidents. Obviously, none of them, they're stupid accidents sometimes, but none of them deter the fact that these are very high quality drivers. And you know, in a couple of hours when we go to the World Championship, those are the highest quality of the Formula Sim Racing grid, you know. And as we see now, Victor Ivanov actually up to David Mocek, so maybe Ivanov was saving his tyres to the end.
Yeah, Ivanov right on the back of Rodger now. Right on the back of Rodger as they exit the Parabolica. And he'll be in the slipstream as they head down the start-finish straight. He'll have the DRS. He's not going to quite get close enough for a move this time around, but he's definitely getting closer.
They've got traffic to deal with as well.
They've got traffic up ahead to deal with, yeah. Definitely seems like this strategy, this two-stopper from Ivanov is really working here. So he's done well with this.
Has Ivanov stopped twice? I thought he's only stopped once. He went on.
You're right. He's just gone onto a different set of tyres than Rodger. Rodger, of course, went onto the super softs. Ivanov went onto the softs, and now Rodger's tyres have gone off, and he's made a mistake. Yeah, Rodger made a mistake on the exit of Variante del Rodger there. Ivanov is now even closer than he was before. Yeah, there was no difference in terms of how many times they stopped. The difference was that Rodger went onto the super softs, meaning he was quicker initially. And Ivanov, who is looking, well, took a look to the inside there. Ivanov went onto the soft tyres, so he was slower initially, but now he's a lot quicker. Rodger's tyres have gone off.
I think Kian might just about, if he keeps it clean, I think he's got this. There's only, we're on 38, we're about to stop that 39, so 2 laps to go this time by, and stuck in pretty much a deadlock fight with Victor Ivanov as they fight, and with David being out of DRS range, both of them, you know, being out of DRS range of Kian White at the moment, Kian has just got to bring that car home without having any accidents, and yeah, as I said, coming for 2 laps to go, podium being Kian and Victor Ivanov, 3 separate teams, you know, on the podium, but all names that you will recognise, you know, from, you know, the top level in the sim racing with the way they're a bit, you know, with the way they train their drivers. But I think Victor Ivanov might have a look down the inside. No, okay. Thought he was going to have a look down the inside the Della Rogia. It's a bit slidey on my end, but still manages to get a decent exit.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't the best of lines there. But Ivanov still behind Rodger on lap 39 here, the penultimate lap of the race. As we head down towards Ascari, we'll have the DRS again. This isn't usually an overtaking spot. Incidentally, the what Panzer said in the chat after the incident with Giordano Valeriano earlier on was that he didn't pay enough attention and couldn't see him on his left, so he just guessed, and they should have let him pass. So Panzer has apologised, and that's good to see. But of course, he came off a lot worse out of that incident, actually retiring from the race for the time. Now, will Ivanov make a move on Rodger? The gap is pretty much nothing, and Ivanov is going for it. Rodger defends on the final lap of the race. Ivanov goes around the outside. They make contact. They're locked together. They're locked together on the second apex, and Rodger stays ahead for now. Wow!
And Dylan Scriven's having a look at Davide Chiappini coming towards
No, Ivanov back to the inside of the of Variante del Rodger around the Curva Grande. Can he make it work? Rodger's going to have to go very wide for this. He makes the corner. There's more contact on the exit. Incredible, as Ivanov is still right with him. He won't get many more opportunities to overtake Rodger. This is the final lap of the race. He only really has down into the Variante Ascari here. Oh, and he's made a mistake. He lit up the rear tyres coming out of the second Lesmo there, and Ivanov may have just blown his last opportunity.
Yeah, Scriven's also managed to get past Chiappini into turn 1, but obviously as we come through the final sector, this race has been absolutely, it's been an attrition rate and a half, and Kian's already weaving coming into the Parabolica, but Josh, you can do the honours.
So Kian White around the final corner, the Parabolica, he weaves the entire time, and well, he knows he's done it, and he has done it, and he wins the race. Oh, Ivanov's got it! Ivanov got it on the final corner. Ivanov is up into second. Rodger drops to third. What happened there?
He ran out of fuel. Rodger ran out of fuel.
David Rodger ran out of fuel at the final corner. He's crossed the line in third, but he lost second position at the final corner due to simply being hassled by Ivanov, not being able to conserve his fuel. White wins, followed by Ivanov and Rodger, and then Valeriano, Scrivens, Schiappini, Kraus, Lukaszek, and then it's going to be Adriano Opportuni who finishes 9th. Tom Van Egmond is 10th. Yuri Sravatsky is 11th. We've actually lost Luke Maguire on the final lap of the race. He's going to be classified 12th. But does he actually score points for that? I'm not sure.
Yes, he will. He will score points because he is in within the classification region, so he will score points. And just, but no, just seeing, I got pointed out to me that Moracek was running out of fuel around, looking at Kian, seeing Ivanov just going right round his outside. I was right about saying he was saving fuel. He obviously had underfueled that car and was hoping to get to the end.
Yeah.
And Luke apparently crashed coming out of turn 2 as well. So
I'm just watching it now. It was a bit of a silly accident, actually. He went wide coming out of turn 2. Looked like he was skating all over the place. He was on the ultra soft tyre, so maybe they'd gone off. He touched the gravel on the outside, and then that just sucked him into the grass. It looked almost like he panicked. The car went all over the place, and he reversed it into the wall. But anyway, Mark Behrens was the final finisher in 13th position, and then our retirements were Robin Panzer after that unfortunate incident in the pit lane, that big drama midway through the race, and then it was Marek Godek, Danny van der Neer, Matthias Coleman, George Chatzipantelis, and Felipe Garo, who all retired on the first lap of this race. So, wow, what a dramatic race we just witnessed, and what a win for Kian White. That's 2 from 2 in the Formula Challenge ACE Championship, Formula SimRacing ACE Championship, rather. Again, I'm getting 2 series mixed up. And Kian White there, I said he'd be one to look out for, and he's won it. So Kian White continues his 100% winning record. And it's a shame that he wasn't here from the start, because I tell you what, he would have been a real contender for this championship, if not a definite winner.
Yeah, I've got to agree. Indeed, Kian's proved in 2 races that he's really proving it, and it's going to be an amazing second half to the season. I think already with the races that we've had so far, I can definitely see the end of the season and the championship fight being very, very close indeed. And actually, what does that do for the championship, Josh?
Okay, well, of course, Schiappini finished a lot higher up than Valeriano did. I'm gonna have to look at the order to confirm this. Why is my order so far? Why is my stream so far back? Okay, well, when I find out the results, I'll tell you. Okay, so Valeriano finished 4th. Schiappini was 6th. I don't know why I said Valeriano lost points to Schiappini, because that's absolutely not the case, and that means that Valeriano extends his lead. Looking at the point system, I think that 4th place. Actually, I think you should probably talk amongst yourselves while I work it out.
Obviously, look back to the highlights of today's race. Well, just thinking of like the highlights of today's race and all the strategy and everything that played out. It's been a very, not heavily strategical, but very much more proving that this race, especially for the World Championship race later, is going to be very much pace orientated. Strategy is not going to play too much for key, as we can see. If you get the wrong strategy, for like Lukaszek did, you're going to really struggle to claim that time back. I think Lukaszek was stuck in this mindset of, oh yeah, I've got plenty more laps to go, when you sort of ran out of laps towards the end. But as Josh is still trying to find the standings.
No, I've got it. So
always prepared.
The gap at the front of the championship is now 22 points. So Valeriano has extended his championship lead over Schiappini by 4 points. The gap is now 22 points. So it's still close. It's still close in the way that it's it's within a race wins points distance, if that makes any sense. But with the championship now in its second half, and with Valeriano showing some strong form all the way through, it's looking less likely for David Schiappini, but definitely still on, and definitely shouldn't give up hope. All it takes is for one properly bad round from Giordano Valeriano, and for Schiappini to stay clean for the rest of the season. and this championship is still absolutely on. But indeed, Valeriano leads it from Schiappini. In terms of the other positions, I'm not quite sure, but I think that Leonov has jumped Van der Neert, and Mrocek might well have done as well. Actually, I think he was too far back.
Well, nice to see that the championship standings sort of remain slightly unchanged, but obviously getting that gap now out. The next round being Singapore, from what I remember, actually, because 2018 Canada. So, yep, the next round being the Singapore circuit, the Marina Bay Street circuit under the beautiful floodlit lights in Singapore. It's one of those races where anything can happen being a street circuit. And, well, as we found out multiple times, anything can happen and will happen if you try hard enough. So I definitely cannot wait for that round to come up. Obviously, that round is in a few weeks' time. I believe it's in 4 weeks' time. No, 5 weeks, sorry. 5 weeks' time. On August the 19th, we'll be at the Singapore circuit. Well, what a race it's been, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very dramatic. And again, I'm going to have to thank the cameraman, Cameron Rodger, for taking us through this, and also for giving updates as the race is going on, just kind of whispering in our ears and making us jump every couple of seconds. And also to my other commentator here, Alex Skinner. Good to see you back in Formula Sim Racing, Alex.
Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure to be back, and it's great to have this opportunity again that I was given a few days prior. And it's great to be alongside you again, Josh. Has been a good few months since we were last together in the commentary booth, but great to be back in commentary in general after a pretty long break.
Yeah, certainly. And thanks to all of you who watched this race. We had a decent number of people in the YouTube chat here, actually. So that was very good to see. And we will see you all next time out in Singapore. So until then, thanks for watching and goodbye.